Greetings, my fellow decrepits, invalids, and other sick people. I hope you're doing well today and that you're fighting the good fight. So I'm a little late getting to my video this week, and some of that has to do with the fact that last week I was actually having a bit of a tough week with my health. And so I wanted to make a video this week just kind of talking about that. And if you're having a tough week, I hope that this might be an encouragement to you as well. But before we get into the video, if you enjoyed the content we make on this channel, please do us a favor and smack that like button. Give a ring-a-ding-ding to the notification bell, and please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel and supports not only me, but anyone else that might be going through a health crisis. So let's get into the video. All right, so like I said, last week was a bit of a tough week for me. Just kind of a week where a lot of my symptoms kind of intensified a little bit again. A lot of brain fog, some body twitches, and just generally feeling a lot more fatigued. Spent a lot more time in bed, and that's always frustrating for sure. And I think in general, a lot of the things that I felt like I needed more help, and it's always a little hard and a little discouraging to ask for help, especially when you're trying to make progress in your health. But so that was a little hard. There was also just the fact that I felt less productive. You know, anytime that your symptoms get worse, or if it's a hard week, you know, you immediately get behind on things like laundry and dishes, and so then you start to be like, I need to catch up. I'm never catching up. And if you have a health issue like me, there are days where it's like I want to clean the house and it's a disaster, and I feel like I can't do anything. And so that's always a little hard mentally. So there was that, and then just overall feeling tired, and that's kind of a big piece of chronic fatigue, obviously, is just you feel tired a lot. And so despite all those things I felt though last week, I've been trying to remind myself that that's okay, and that there are going to be ups and downs in my health journey, and that if I had a bad week, that's okay. That happens sometimes. That's just the reality of life. Life is a up and down journey. There are hills and there are valleys, and we just kind of have to learn to navigate those as we go. And so if you're watching this right now and you had a bit of a tough week, you know, what I would encourage you, or even if you're in the middle of a tough week right now, I would just say, hey, like, hang in there. I know it's hard, but there are ups and downs, and I don't know what you're going through, and your high may still be very low for the average person. But what I'm thinking of right now is I'm looking back at last week. Last week was tough. This week I'm feeling a little bit better. You know, am I 100%? Absolutely not. But I am grateful that this week I've been able to do a little bit more, and that I just generally feel better. And so with that, I encourage you and myself to give ourselves a bit of grace when we go through things, and that it's okay to acknowledge that, hey, last week was tough. There were some big challenges with it. But again, something we've talked about in this channel in the past is that once you feel that emotion and you acknowledge that for yourself, don't stay in that place of self-pity. So now that we've acknowledged it was tough, now I got to set it aside, put it in the past, and move on. Today is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. We're in a new week. And you got to focus on the challenges of the day. And so that's kind of the hope and the encouragement that I have for you. and really, I think that the best way I can say it is just enjoy the highs when you're in them. And then when you're in the lows, just strap yourself in and do whatever you got to do to get through them. And sometimes, you know, maybe it's not that, maybe the low isn't that bad and it's just a little bump in the road. That's kind of how I feel like last week was for me, a little bump in the road. And so you just kind of bounce back and you get moving forward. But if you're going through something that's a little bit more challenging, you know, then I encourage you just to, you know, really hunker down and lean on those people around you that are willing to help you and support you. And you will get through it. You just take it one day, one step at a time. All right, so I want to keep this video fairly short today. It was mostly just a quick update on me. However, I did come across something today that I really want to share with you guys. It was a quote from C.S. Lewis. But before I get into the quote, I want to give a little bit of context on who he is and on the circumstances in which he was writing this quote. So, for those of you that don't know, C.S. Lewis is most well known as being the author of the Chronicles of Narnia series. He was a huge Christian author and evangelist, had a big radio program for a long time, good friends with J.R.R. Tolkien of Lord of the Rings. The quote that I'm going to share today, he wrote it in the time of the 1940s, believed to be right around 1948, I think it was. And the quote, it's from an essay he wrote, and it has to do with the threat of atomic bombs and atomic warfare near the end of World War II. So he's in this place of desperation and chaos and the deadliest war in human history that we have seen. And despite all that going on, he says this: if we are all going to be destroyed by an atomic bomb, let that bomb, when it comes, find us doing sensible and human things. Praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting to our friends over a pint and a game of darts. Not huddled together like frightened sheep and thinking about bombs. They may break our bodies, but they need not dominate our minds. So you may be wondering why I shared this quote on this channel that mostly has to do with health and fitness with an illness. But I think that this quote stood out to me today and that it was profound because in the world in which we live, the circumstances around us, I think, have a larger impact on our health than we give them credit for. I think that stress, anxiety, and worry about the world does have a vastly negative impact on our lives. And we are constantly inundated with the next news cycle day after day after day. And it's always negative. There's always something on the horizon that is a threat to us, a threat to our safety, to our families. And we're constantly trying to learn how to live with these things and deal with them. And I think that what Lewis was trying to say in his day about atomic warfare can very easily apply to our day about nuclear warfare. And just the threat of war and disease, chaos, anarchy, whatever, just, major existential threats. And what Lewis is saying in this little piece he wrote, I think is very encouraging, and it's a very interesting mindset. That basically he's saying if the bomb were to come today, or if whatever threat may be coming our way, we need to continue living our lives in such a way that we are experiencing the joy and living in harmony with the people that we love and doing the things that we love. And I think that there's so much pain and suffering in this world. I'm a firm believer that there is a good and evil, there is a God and there is a devil, and that our world is fallen, and that we are constantly in the middle of that tension of good and evil. And you may disagree with me on the God thing, but I do think that for most people, they can at least see the tension between good and evil, and that there is constantly this threat that is weighing down on us. And I think that does have a major impact on our health. I know sometimes for me, when I look at the news and I see all the chaos going on, like the war between Israel and Palestine, the war in Ukraine, and there are days where I think about the people living in those countries in the middle of those circumstances, and then I'm over here, and there's days where I think about improving my ability to play the guitar, or I've been trying to work on creative writing, and there are days where I'm like, man, should I even be doing these things? Like, there's so much going on in the world, there's so much chaos, and there's times it feels like we're just too small to do anything. I think that has an impact on our health as well. But I think what Lewis is trying to say is that in the midst of all these things, we still need to continue living our lives. I think Lewis would agree with a statement like this. The moment we stop doing things like writing and reading and singing and experiencing joy, then I don't know what kind of world we're living in anymore. And so if we were to remove those things, we're taking whatever little piece of joy is still left in this world, at least until Jesus comes back. And so I think it's our job for the time being, actually, despite everything going on, that we need to be a positive light in the world, and we need to be doing the singing and the dancing, the reading, creating, and giving people a glimpse of hope despite everything that's going on. And I think that has so many implications on our health, and especially our mental health, but I think even physically, we need that communication and connection with people. And so wherever you're at today, I just want to say you have something to add to this world, whether it's a conversation with someone over dinner, whether you are an artist and you have a piece of work to share with the world, if you have a story to tell, there is something you have to add to this world. And you never know who it might impact and who it might encourage. This world is a dark place, so whatever little piece of light you can add to it, go out there and do it, and be a light to the world around you. All right, my friends, so I hope you found this video to be encouraging, uplifting. If you did, maybe consider sharing it with one of your friends who may be going through something right now. I said this in the last few episodes, but I truly mean it. You know, I've already been amazed at the number of people who have been encouraged by the content we're making. And so really feel free to share it with people. You never know who it might impact and who it might encourage. So with all that said, my friends, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're continuing to fight the good fight. God bless you. Take care of yourself, and we will see you next time.